Hello, everyone. Today I am joined by Martin, a very valuable member of our community. Martin, how did you start in the industry and what were the main challenges that you encountered?
My full name is Hossein Martin Fazeli. I was born in Iran. I'm a child of the Iranian Revolution of 1979. And at a very young age, because of the revolution, we had to leave the country. I left the country, lived in a different places in the Middle East, Asia. And then I ended up in Canada. And so I've been living most of my life in Canada, North America, Europe. I lived in Europe for about 10 years, 2 years in New York. In post-revolution Iran, I saw a lot of injustice. I lost members of my family to fire squads because of crimes as petty as distributing banned opposition papers. I saw extreme poverty throughout my travels. Violence of various kind. Very early, I became conscious of the world, and it's it was no longer a nice, childlike place. I became an adult too early. Let me put it this way. And I was always fascinated by cinema. But then when this happened, I realized that cinema is a very powerful tool to talk about the world and to talk about your place in the world. Because you start having existential questions when you're faced with fire squads at the age of 14. There is no way you can avoid those questions. And so cinema became for me a path of not only self-discovery, but also self-healing. And then in the process, when I started to develop my own identity as a person, a path, a vehicle for expressing what I thought about the world and about being in the world. And so that's why I got attracted to cinema. Now, I'm primarily a writer. I write only in Persian. In my experience, filmmakers basically mainly come from two different disciplines, the other arts. The ones who come from writing and the ones who come from painting. So I'm one of those guys who comes from writing. For me, cinema and writing, they're sisters in that sense. And I think writing informs a lot of things that I do in cinema. So that's my background. I do both fiction and documentary, but I've been focused on documentary filmmaking for the past few years because I'm a sociopolitical animal and because there's no genre like documentary cinema that can talk about those issues and bring about change on the ground.
What project did you enjoy working on the most?
Enjoy is a difficult word because I did a film in 2007 called The Tale of Two Nazanins. It's about a minor on death row in Iran. It was the story of a girl who was attacked by three men who wanted to rape her. She was 17 at the time. And she was a tough cookie. She was a tigress. She had a knife on her. Okay, so she kills one of the attackers, injures the other one, right? And the third runs away. And then she goes to a police station and says, this is what I did because I was attacked in this bar. And the authorities, instead of, giving her a medal, they put her in jail. And then 3 months later, they sentenced her to death on murder charges. And so I was working with a human rights campaigner here who was Miss Canada 2003, a beautiful woman. But she was also a human rights activist, and she wanted to do something to save her life. The appeal court was supposed to take place in 3 months. And if the appeal court confirmed the verdict of the first court, then she would be hanged in 10 days. And so I made a documentary in 3 months, which was crazy. But
Wow.
then I had everything at my disposal. I had 4 teams, one I sent to Iran when the story was happening, one in Germany, 2 teams in Canada. So we put it together in a matter of 3 months. It was a very, very tough journey. It was basically sleeping in the editing room at the editing table. And the film had really a tough journey. But when the film came out a few days before the retrial, it kind of galvanized the public opinion. We gathered a petition of 500,000 signatures, submitted that to the UN. There was a huge outcry. The film was in part or full broadcast on all these different major networks, from CNN to CBC to BBC to Fox to Arte to, I don't know, ZDF and all of that. And so because of the outcry, the judiciary in Iran dropped the charges and released the girl. And so she was not executed. That to me was very rewarding because it was not just a film anymore. It was a film that actually saved or helped save a life.
And also you did justice to that girl.
Exactly. And so in that sense, it was really the most rewarding experience of my career. It was not the most fun, like fun on the surface, but it was the most rewarding. But in terms of fun, I usually have most fun when I do my own small stuff. My own personal projects, 4 or 5 minutes, poem films or experimental pieces or, music videos that I like. That is the most fun on the surface. But again, I am in film and I make films not because I want to enjoy myself. If I want to enjoy myself, I go for a swim or I go, and dance, at night at a club. I am in cinema because I want to feel alive. I want to feel that there is a purpose, associated with my life, that I am not a piano key. I can make a difference. And so in that context, what is the most important feeling for a filmmaker, in my opinion, is that feeling of reward, not enjoyment, but being rewarded and feeling that what you're doing is rewarding. And so that I have had that with a number of projects. That was the highest, that's the highest, the top of my list even today. But yeah, that's the way I see it.
Speaking of fun, what is the concept behind Revolutionary Film Cafe?
Oh, Revolutionary Film Cafe is the brainchild of me and a good friend of mine in Toronto, Kada Pierre. This came up in our conversations that we needed a space for kind and compassionate social justice warriors. Kind and compassionate, I emphasize that because it's very easy to be a cutthroat social justice activist, right? Don't go for it because it's in the end, the worst enemy of social justice is cutthroat social justice activism, and I've seen it. So kind and compassionate towards social justice activists who want to amplify their messages by making films, documentary films specifically. If you want to be a documentary filmmaker, like if you want to be a fictional filmmaker, it doesn't really matter what kind of filmmaker you want to be. You got to go to school and study and then go and, become part of a team and then blah, 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 kind of climb the ladder slowly, and gradually. I don't believe in that. I really believe that if you are passionate and committed to something, then all you need is 7 days of learning the technicality. And I can teach that to you. It's not a big deal. For free. You don't have to spend $10,000 on a school. You need to have a guide. You need to have a mentor. You need to have a supervisor of some kind. When I say supervisor, not somebody who tells you what to do, but somebody whom you can go to and ask questions and show us stuff and ask for feedback, to walk through this. But you don't need schooling, you don't need that set of skills in order to make a good or great documentary film. School is a business and business is business. So it's like medicine, right? Modern medicine. Why do we have so much problems? Why are people so sick? Because we don't have a healthcare, we have a sick care. When people get sick, they go to doctors. And I have nothing against doctors. My own sister is a doctor. And I love her to death, but when I get sick, I don't call my sister. I don't call her, I go to alternative people. I go to healers. I go to Mexico. I go to Brazil. I go to India. Because health is a holistic thing. It's an organic thing. You cannot say, oh, I have pain here. Pain here is directed to pain here, is directed to pain here. It's just an
You have to fix the root of the problem,
exactly.
not just the effect.
It's just a defect. And that's what allopathic medicine is about. That's the thing. The thing is that you've got to look at this organically. Film school doesn't look at it organically. Okay, this is camera, that is sound, that is lighting, or put them together, you have a film. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, I can give you the best camera person with the best camera gear, and the best sound person with the best sound gear, and the best lighting person, gaffer with the best lighting gear, and you don't have a story. You don't have a film. I can give you a script, and you don't have a film. Okay, film is something, it's a living organism, it's a living being. Okay, and to have a community, have a relationship with that living being takes a lot of experience and takes a lot of elegance. Okay, you got to be elegant, right? And one of the ways to get elegant is to be compassionate about something. All right, long-term passion. I'm not talking about being passionate about something for 14 hours. I'm talking about being passionate about something for 14 months. Okay, can you be passionate and stay passionate for 14 months? Now, when you have that, and when you have that commitment, and when you have a story that is deep within you, okay, that this story is coming out of you, okay, it's not a superficial, you don't have a superficial relationship to this story, then you cannot help but make a good film. You cannot help it.
You have all the ingredients.
Exactly. Now, what you have to get rid of in that situation to make a good film is to get rid of your fear. The fear of not being enough, the fear of not being competent, the fear of not knowing what to do. And this is the fear that film school instills in you. That's why you go to film school. And you spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of the money you don't have on that education that basically, in most cases, doesn't get you anywhere. 90% of film school graduates do not make a living making films. You show me one other business with 90% failure that is still in operation, and I changed my name. It doesn't exist, right? Why? Because there is so much misinformation about it, okay? And there is so much hope. It's like buying lottery, okay? Mathematically, you should be mathematically challenged to think that you can win a lottery, right? Still, people go and buy lotteries. I do buy lotteries. Why? Because it's a psychological game that society plays with you. That yes, you can be the one. Chances of you winning a lottery are less than chances of you walking on the street and being hit by a piano from upstairs. Mathematically, you should be mathematically challenged to think that you win a lot. But people buy lotteries, millions of people. They spend tens of millions of dollars every single month.
What can students learn from a film school then?
What I learned from film school was what not to do. Not what to do. But then it was my own take, right? What I learned from film school is that film school doesn't make you a filmmaker. I had to have that experience. I had to go there to learn that I don't need this in order to become a filmmaker. I had to spend my $60,000, my parents' $60,000 on this very important understanding and knowledge that I don't need, because it's not, because film school is just one side of this whole thing, because you know film school is part of a system that says you are not enough, okay, and all you need to look beautiful and to be beautiful and to feel beautiful is makeup. That's the philosophy on which film school is built, right? It doesn't talk about the fact that if you really feel good inside, if you're happy, people will start looking at you when you walk on the street. It's the energy that attracts. It's not about the lipsticks, okay, or the cream you use, okay? Now, that's the difference between what I say and what the film school says, okay? A film is a living organism. All right. Of course, you want to put makeup on it, makeup on it. Put the makeup on it as the last thing. Okay. First, create the spirit, a spirit that is alive and kicking, okay, and passionate and powerful. Then put some makeup on it, and then I say, oh wow, look at that. All right. Putting makeup on a dead soul doesn't do anything. That's what film schools teach you to do. So yeah, I learned what not to do, and I think I learned technicality for sure. I mean, I did a couple of films, my own films, when I went to film school, and there were disasters. I learned again from those failures because you learn from your failures. Um, but it didn't teach me how to make good films. Let me put it this way. No film school does, unless, I mean, well, maybe some. Most of them don't. I don't know of any film school. I had actually a conversation with a film school. They wanted to hire me, excuse me, as an instructor. And I said, look, I'm not going to teach your curriculum to them. Okay, this is what I'm going to be teaching to them, right? Because I want them, they came to this film school because they wanted to become filmmakers. And if they want to become filmmakers, they got to make films, and they've got to understand the wisdom of filmmaking. Okay, what can go wrong, understanding that, avoid the pitfalls, and I'll teach that. And they refused, rejected, but they thought it was interesting. Okay, so I don't know any film school that hires people like that. Okay, that let's walk. Okay, instead of talking about, oh, what a beautiful land that is, and look at the pictures and look at the videos, let's go there and walk. Okay, let's take a long walk. Instead of talking about swimming, let's jump into the water. Okay, so yeah, that's my experience with film schools. Yeah, but it was necessary. I don't regret the fact that I went to film schools. I don't. Those were invaluable lessons. Okay, because as I said, it's not only about film school, it's about your approach to filmmaking in general. Okay, it's about understanding that this body of work must have a soul, and how to do that, how to actually inject that soul into this body. You have to unlearn a lot of things. So I think really filmmaking is a process of unlearning a lot of things to arrive at your own voice and your own vision of doing something.
Thank you very much, Martin, for sharing your knowledge with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.